Hi there and welcome back to the channel. I thought I've been doing quite a few aerial performer behind the scenes and some edits and all the rest of it. I thought I would put another video together on another pain point. Have you ever looked at your dance photos or aerial performer photos and feel that something's just off? Chances are you're making a really common mistake. Today I'm going to show you how you can recover a little bit when you accidentally chop off hands, feet, fingers and toes so that your dance and aerial portraits look a bit more polished. So let's have a look at why this happens to start with. You're shooting too tight. And look, I get it. You get excited and you forget to check the edge of your frames. But sometimes you just have to shoot a little bit wider than you think you need, and then you can always crop it in tighter in post. Always, always shoot wider. Anything that's movement, whether it's performers or dancers or sport, shoot a little bit wider. If you're using primes, make sure that you've got enough working distance. So if you're using, a 50 mil or a 75 mil, a 90, etc., make sure you've got enough distance that you can shoot a little bit wide and then crop in. Remember, cropping while filling the frame is your object. Sometimes having a little bit of negative space is also really, really good. Follow the movement and don't lose the awareness of your edges. I know that's easier said than done. Let's go have a look. Okay, so I've already shown you some images where I had cropped off hands or feet or whatever, but let's talk about what's happening here. So I was shooting with a 28 to 75 mil lens, which allowed me to come in closer or further away. I have got, in most cases, my subjects centered, and I have done that because it is easier to keep them centered to be aware of the edges. And I've got negative space around most of my shots here. Now, do you have to always have them centered? Do you always have to have them with negative space? No, of course, you can fill the frame, you can crop in tighter, but making sure that you have shot wide enough so you can come back in the edit and make those creative choices. I love to have a little bit of negative fill around my subjects. Some of them I have cropped in a little bit closer and some are a little bit more further away. That's personal choice on how much creative choice you've got on your image. Making sure I have got enough room on the sides. I'm not so worried about the top because that was just where the apparatus was hung from, so usually with a rope or whatever that they use. My aim in most of these shots was to capture the performer and the apparatus they were on. Where it comes to like the silks, the apparatus is quite long, so I chose to come in a little bit closer and not necessarily capture it all. This was another action shot where the performer Chantal did a drop and I had to make sure I followed her through the shot. Not all of them landed where I wanted them to be. Again, more drops, capturing the action as it happened, making sure that I didn't crop off hands, feet, etc. What happens if you do and you've got an image that you love? Let's have a little look at that now. Cropping through joints tends to feel uncomfortable when you're looking at it because our eyes naturally expect to see the whole limb. So it doesn't matter whether it's dancers, performers, or even standard portraits. Don't crop through the wrists, the ankles, the elbows, the knees. It just looks a little bit messy. What you're better off doing is going mid-thigh or upper arm or through the torso or through the waist. So let's have a little look at a couple of shots. Okay, so this image here, I've actually cut off feet. So I think the performer was previously above and then she come down below, and I wasn't quite quick enough to adjust. I ended up adjusting it in some of the other shots, but not necessarily that one. So what should we do? So I'm going to come in, I'm just in Lightroom, and I'm going to come in with my crop tool. I'm just going to do a 5x7. Now I could, if I wanted to, just come in even closer and get a close-up shot. Not the world's greatest shot, granted, but that is a possibility. You could also just cut to there. It's a matter of where your eye leads to. Let's see if we can find another example, because I actually threw out most of the photos that I had stuff cropped with. Okay, so here's another one, and it is cropped below the knee, which looks a little bit awkward. I was trying to get away from that blue. So what I was probably better off doing is coming in above the knee, making sure that I'm not chopping off the fingers. That looks a little nicer doing it that way. Again, here's another one. The original crop is below the knee. And if I come in with a 5x7, doesn't have to be 5x7, and crop in above the knee, that then becomes a nicer look. If you have a look at this, which is one of the finished images that I have cropped it above the knee. More again here, I have cropped above the calf. I came in, cropped a little bit tighter. I could even come in a little bit tighter again and crop above the knee. Here again, I have cropped above the knee. So remember where you crop above a joint. So if you've got knees, ankles, wrists, things like that, crop above the joint. So a quick recap. Don't crop through wrists, elbows, knees, ankles. You can crop between the joints, so between the hand and the wrist, the forearm, the upper arm, upper leg, or below the foot. You can cut through the bust, you can cut through the torso, but just don't unnecessarily crop off body parts if you don't need to. Another idea when you are shooting something that's fast moving, so performers, dancers, sport, animals, small kids, anything like that, shoot on burst mode and pan, move with your subject. You're more likely to capture a full shot, especially if you've shot a little bit wide, so that you're not cutting off fingers, toes, and you've got expression and all your body parts basically. So continuous, sometimes you might get them a couple of shots where it is being cut off if you haven't moved quite quickly enough, if they have moved. But if you do shoot continuous, you do have a better chance of capturing those. Remember, the rules are useful, but understanding why they exist means that you can break them intentionally rather than accidentally. So the next time you're photographing dancers, performers, or even your kids running around the backyard, pay attention to those edges. It might be the quickest way to improve your photography overnight. Thanks for watching. I hope you found this video helpful. Don't forget to drop any comments down below. Give us a thumbs up if you like the video, and please consider subscribing. It does make a huge difference. And I will see you next time on YouTube. Bye.